Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Julia Morahan and I'm Head of Research at MS Research Australia. I've spent the last 3 days attending the joint ACTRIMS-ECTRIMS conference for 2020. Due to COVID-19, this conference for the first time was completely online with recorded presentations and live question and answer sessions and comments from the audience. The conference itself was attended by 8,000 people from 100 countries, all interacting, participating and listening at the same time. In this video, I want to talk about some of my key highlights over the 3 days. So the first thing that I wanted to mention is that MS Virtual 2020 hosted the launch of the new Atlas of MS. This is the 3rd edition of the Atlas, and this is a worldwide project that MS Research Australia and MSA have been involved in that allows us to update the figures of how MS is going around the world. So we now know that there are 2.8 million people living with MS around the world, including 25,600 people in Australia. This means that 10 people in Australia are diagnosed with MS every week, and that worldwide, 1 person every 5 minutes is newly diagnosed. The conference itself opened with a wonderful plenary lecture from Professor Helen Tremlett from Canada about the MS prodrome. A prodrome is something that occurs before the onset of a disease, a constellation of symptoms that may allow you to predict whether somebody is going to go on to develop a disease. And the MS prodrome is something that's been of interest over the last few years in research. Professor Tremlett spoke about her research into various symptoms that may predict whether or not somebody goes on to have MS. Things like an increased rate of anxiety or depression, increased pain, or increased hospitalizations up to 5 to 10 years before they go on to have MS. There's nothing MS specific though, so it will still require further work before we can start using this type of thing in clinical practice. But it is incredibly important because if we're able to identify people earlier, we will be able to intervene earlier and treat them earlier and hopefully improve their outcomes. Day 1 also included a wonderful session on different treatment strategies for MS. Ellen Mowry spoke beautifully about 2 studies that she is involved in that are going to look at the 2 different ways that you can treat individuals with MS. Traditionally, doctors have treated people with MS using what's called an escalation strategy, which is basically to start them off with first-line treatments and see if they have breakthrough disease. Once they have breakthrough disease, they escalate the therapy to 2nd or 3rd-line treatments in order to protect them. There's now a movement more towards what we call early intensive treatment of MS, where you start with the stronger medications at the very beginning of the disease. But nobody has done pragmatic studies to show that this is definitely working. Ellen Mowry is doing 2 studies, one called Treat MS and one called Deliver MS, to get some real-world data to see whether one treatment strategy works over the other. There are also a number of studies presented at ACTRIMS that did show in other trials that early treatment is important, and that even for people with primary progressive MS, the length of time that they have been on treatments can improve their long-term outcome. Day 2 had a great session on personalised medicine in MS. The idea of personalised medicine is to match the management strategy and/or medication to the person living with disease. And a number of different neurologists talked about their strategies for doing this from around the world. The importance of taking into account the person's preferences, their disease activity, and their life stage. There are also a number of great presentations from Australian researchers across all 3 days. I'd particularly like to congratulate Alexander Xavier from the Hunter Medical Research Institute in Newcastle on his presentation on epigenetics and MS. His research was undertaken with a number of researchers from ANSGene, which is MS Research Australia's genetics platform. And his research has shown that methylation levels undertaken in a blood test may be used to predict who will convert from clinically isolated syndrome to clinically definite MS. Clinically isolated syndrome is one of the earliest precursors of MS. And again, being able to predict who is going to go on to have MS would be hugely powerful in being able to manage and diagnose better. I'd also like to congratulate Dr. Wei Ye, who is a neurologist and PhD student at Monash University, funded by MS Research Australia. Wei Ye presented his research on pregnancy and MS. He showed that women who are on high or mid-efficacious therapies are more likely to have relapses during pregnancy, a time when women are usually protected from MS activity, and that putting these women on long-acting medications or even treating them into their pregnancies may reduce the risk of relapse. Professor Ingrid van der Meij from Tasmania used the Australian MS longitudinal study, another MS Research Australia platform, to show that natalizumab was superior to a number of other treatments in terms of some symptom outcomes and also on absenteeism for people living with MS. So this means that they were able to be more productive at work during their MS on natalizumab. The results of a number of clinical trials were presented on day 3 of the conference. The highlight for me was definitely the mastininib results that were presented from a phase 3 clinical trial. This is a new treatment that is being targeted at people with primary progressive MS and those with non-active secondary progressive MS. So this is a group of people for which very few treatment options are available. Mastininib is a molecule that targets the innate immune system, and they treated some people with the drug and compared them to another group of people who received no treatment or a placebo arm. Those that were treated with mastininib had a reduced risk of first progression, but also reduced disability progression confirmed over 3 months, which is a wonderful result and great news for people that are living with these forms of MS. So those were my highlights for this year's MS Virtual 2020. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.